Hey everybody, Mark Drumheller here with Dave Gleckner. XFL Best Bets Week 10. We're finally at the final week of the season, powered by the Sharp app. Guys, if you haven't downloaded the Sharp app yet, make sure you go and do that. Plenty of great stuff in the Discord, on the app. Be a part of the community. We have prize picks videos going off every day, hitting like crazy. Our Proptimizer, top props articles. The Sharp report from Anthony comes out every day, giving you the landscape of what the books need per day. The Sharp plays, everything you need in that report. It's a tremendous tool, and all our AI prediction models. So join the community over at the Sharp app. But for now, let's get into the XFL Best Bets. Dave, it's been a ride so far. It's been a ride 9 weeks in now. We're at the final week of the regular season, and it's going to be an interesting one because we got a lot of different tiebreaker scenarios we have to account for, a lot of motivational, situational spots for different teams. So that makes it a little bit murky, but I think we can find our way through.
So, Drums, can we say this? We've been on here for many years, and we're big in college football. We got into that, that D3, D1 AA spring season. We got into some USFL. This is by far the best spring football we've seen.
Oh, yeah, it's good. The talent, yeah.
It's
the product on the field's been really good.
And I think right?
The crowd has a lot to do with it, too.
No.
I think when you watch the USFL and you watch the XFL, that's the biggest difference is the crowd. It just makes it a better experience. And I think the XFL has better skill position players. I think the USFL teams are better in the trenches. But, we'll dig into the XFL in the upcoming weeks once we get through this. But, no, it's a lot of fun. It's good having football all year round, man. I love it.
Thinking about this died years ago, right? When we thought we had a league that was building something, and this thing survived. And I think it has legs. Now, I don't think it has 2 legs. I think it has 4 or 8, whatever you want to get to. I think the XFL is really here to stay. I just really do. I think they did a great job this year. I'm hearing expansion in 25. I'm hearing all these other things. And, give them a lot of credit. They built a product that really is something that people want to watch, people want to bet on, and people want to root for. And, going into week 10, there's some drama. And we get into this game, the first game this weekend, that St. Louis Orlando game has all that buildings of to make it important for Seattle later. So I'm with you. This has been a really good product, and I think it has something that has stability for the years to come.
Absolutely. So let's get into the games. And guys, everybody listening in, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the Sharp App YouTube channel. That way you get all the videos when they come, delivered right to you, get the notifications. But make sure you hit the like button as well. Help us out as we keep things rolling here through the XFL season. But let's start with game 1, Dave. We talked about the tiebreaker scenarios. Orlando, this line's been pushed up to 9. It's one-way traffic here. +9 against St. Louis. We have a total of 48. No XFL game has closed this year with a total of 47 or more. And here we are sitting at 48. And the reason behind that is, to give the viewers a quick update, the tiebreaker scenario, St. Louis and Seattle fighting for the last playoff spot in the North Division. It's likely going to come down to points for and points against opponents. So it really benefits these teams to run up the scores this week. And I think that's why you're seeing this high total here at 48. Listen, I lay the points here with St. Louis. I think when you look at Orlando, you look at that defense, they let up, I think it was, I want to say 6 yards per play last week against San Antonio, the worst offense in the XFL. Orlando 1-9. Hasn't done much right all season. So I think there is really potential here for St. Louis to run up the score. So I laid the points here with St. Louis. And, I did play some over as well. I think this game does go over the total. I think even at 48, we're getting up there now. I hit it a little bit earlier, but I think at 48, we're kind of pushing it. But I do think it's probably going to go over because St. Louis has to score. They have to score 19 or more points than Seattle this week in order to put them in position to for the tiebreaker. So that means that they're going to have to put up, we're talking 40, 50 points they're going to have to try. So I think we're in for a lot of points, and I think, St. Louis here is going to try and run away with it at home.
I'm a little bit on the other side. Orlando has been playing the spoiler for past even 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, we go back to week 5, and, that's a pretty decent look right here. Orlando that week loses by 3 to Vegas. Next week, in a very competitive game, Seattle lose by 7. In week 7, they're here in the game, and here they are, they beat DC by 1. Week 8, they sit here, lose by 2 to Arlington. In week 9, they're right there, lose by 2 to San Antonio. They've been in every game for the past 4 weeks, and I like the 9. I'm going to lay the 9 with Orlando. I think they're going to be in this game the whole time, but I'm with you on the over. I think it's a very competitive back and forth game. I think there's points scored. Listen, we've talked about this. St. Louis, very slow team, right? They're very underpaced. They try and draw the game out. They can't this week. They can't. I think it's going to be back and forth, and it's not a game they like to play. But in the end, I think they win. But I think they win high scoring. I think they win over the total, and Orlando covers. So that's where I'm at.
So you like the Guardians? Not bad. Listen, 9 points is a lot, man. And I'll tell you, when you get these spreads over 7, the Dogs have covered this year in the XFL. I mean, that's been one area. Yep, that's been one area where we've seen underdogs cover in the XFL with these big spreads when they get over a touchdown. But I just think that when I look at St. Louis, I think they have the firepower. But you're right. You know, if you want to look at plays per game, St. Louis 56.1 average plays per game, lowest in the XFL. So they're not a team that wins with pace. So this is going to be a different situation for them. They're going to have to score points in bunches and be super aggressive. We'll see how they respond. But I think they get the job done. You're on Orlando, but we both agree there's going to be a lot of points in this one.
Going over.
Absolutely. Yep, we'll see some points. So, second game on the card. Now, this is a really interesting one when you think about it, because we talk about motivation. We have DC -3 at San Antonio. DC, number 1 team in the league. Total 41.5. San Antonio's a team went over last week against Orlando. Like I said, a ton of offense. They're the worst offense in the XFL, but DC's defense has been a little bit leaky too. But DC already has home field advantage wrapped up in this one, so not a lot of motivation. We don't know how much their stars are going to play. But San Antonio, still trying to get into the playoffs, needs a win to get in. So they're going to be giving it everything they have. I just don't think it's going to be enough. I think even DC, without their key players, like, okay, we don't see Jordan Tiamu, we're going to see De'Aaron King. I still think they're going to be able to run the football. When you think about a strong team that runs the football very well, it's not really based on the running back. Abram Smith has been tremendous out of Baylor, but listen, they're going to be able to run the ball with other guys in there if they rest him up this week. Yeah, Armstead, guys like that. So I think they moved the football in this one. Their defense is leaky, but I don't know if San Antonio can take advantage of it. Like I said, worst offense in the XFL. So I haven't played this one yet. I'm hoping this one gets down to 2.5. We'd see a little San Antonio money coming in late, hopefully. Because once it hits 2.5, like I will hit the defenders here. But this is another one too. The total, I'm leaning over all DC games. Like I said, that defense is not very good. Let up a ton of yards last week to Arlington, 434. And I don't know. I think that this is going to be another game where we see some points.
So I don't know where you're at. I'm trying to figure out. Are you on DC or are you not?
I'm going to be on DC. I haven't bet it yet. I'm hoping it gets down to 2.5, but I'm going to be on DC. Right, not betting San Antonio. So I'm just hoping I'm hanging out to get a better number.
All right. I hate to go against you 2 games in a row. I really do.
That's all right.
I mean,
I know. We'll give them both sides. It's good to give the audience both sides.
I'm trying to say we're pretty aligned a lot, and I hate it, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not. I'm all on DC. And I feel DC this week, like, listen, this isn't NFL Week 17. There's a different theory. You don't get a bye. There's no way Reggie Barlow goes into this game and says, I'm walking the ice and I'm just going to bench everybody. He's not. I mean, yes, maybe Tiamu doesn't get as much time and maybe he gets little. You still got De'Aaron King. And you still got, like, if you bench Smith, you still got, like we said, Armstead. There's so many weapons out there. I really think DC is still melts through that defense. I love DC in this game. This is one of my favorite games of the weekend. I think it's going to be overplayed on San Antonio because they have to win. They're not going to win. They stink.
Yeah, and we know, like, we've seen this in the NFL every year, right? What do we see? Must-win teams don't win.
No.
They don't win. The pressure becomes too much, and especially a team like San Antonio, who's not very good.
Yeah.
This is a pressure spot for them. And, you know, granted, is DC going to be resting a couple of their key players, maybe a handful of their best players? Sure. But these rosters aren't deep enough to where you can rest everybody. So
No.
the majority of the players are going to be on the field. I think it's a spot to hit DC, but I'm going to try and get greedy. I'll hang
Yeah,
it. If it
no, I
goes to
get you.
3.5, I'll try and hit it before. I'll try to find a book that's still hanging a 3. But if it goes to 2.5, I'm definitely going to pounce on it with DC.
But me, 3's not a key number. Not in the XFL.
No,
Like
right.
I'm
Yeah.
okay
It's
with
definitely
3. I'm
not.
okay
No.
with 3, right?
Yeah.
Like, and here's my other theory behind it. It's the first year that we finally got to these playoffs. I don't think you're going to see guys sitting people like they got to play next week. They got to play next week no matter what. Like,
Yeah.
I think they got to go in with momentum. I'm really pumped. I really think this is a great spot for DC. And listen, I've been a DC defender like better all year. And, I faded them here and there and I lost once or twice, but this is a really good week. I feel good about this one.
Yeah, I like this one too. So we're on the defenders. I just think San Antonio can't get it done. I don't have
They're
any faith
terrible.
in that team.
And
But let's
coaching.
go to the third game. This is a team that's really been spiraling the past couple weeks. The Houston Roughnecks +1 at Arlington. We have a total of 42. Very interesting game, a ton of playoff implications, right? Because Houston, and Wade Phillips talked about it in his press conference, they're resting people. They already clinched home field for the South Divisional playoff game. They're going to be resting people, and they have not been playing well. The offense has been terrible down the stretch. So, the backups without the key players, it's not going to look good. They are 1-point dogs here against Arlington, who, depending on what happens with San Antonio, might have motivation, might not. If San Antonio wins, Arlington has motivation because they win, they get in. If they lose, it goes to the tiebreakers. If San Antonio loses, Arlington has no motivation and might rest their players as well. Who knows? But I like the way this Arlington team has been trending. Like I said, 434 yards in a comeback against DC. They didn't get the job done in overtime, but they moved that game to overtime. They covered the spread for us. And I think since they traded for Luis Perez, that offense has looked much, much better and getting more comfortable each week. So I played some Arlington here. I really thought about playing the total as well, but did not touch the total. But I like Arlington in this spot. I probably would have went heavier if there wasn't that situation of where if San Antonio loses like we expect,
Yeah.
they might not have much motivation either. So that was the only thing that like held me from really like pounding Arlington in this spot. But I did play them at the -1. I think they're going to win the game. Houston, I don't know, man. I just think that this is a team that's just getting worse and worse as the season continues.
All right, yeah. Let's I turn my hat backwards because we're all in on this together. And
Nice.
I'm gonna tell you the truth, and you probably are there with me. We go back to week 2, and if it wasn't for a couple fumbles, punt returns, and all these other things, that's when these teams last played. I mean, Arlington wins that game. And I'm not an Arlington guy. I'm not a Bob Stoops guy, but in the end, I think this Houston team has become worse and worse and worse as the season is going on. Silvers last week, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 104 yards passing, and somehow they win. Like you said, the addition of Luis Perez, I think I really like Arlington in this game. I do, and it's not just because Houston has 0 to play for, because I think they'll play a little bit, right? Cole McDonald might play more than Silvers, but
yeah, I think it'll be a lot of McDonald.
Yeah, but in the end, I mean, like we predict the loss to San Antonio. Even if we don't get that loss, I mean, Arlington still has a little to play for, right?
Well, no, it depends. If San Antonio loses, Arlington has a game up on San Antonio. So if San Antonio loses, Arlington.
But I'm saying San Antonio wins, they still have something to play.
They have to play, yes. Yeah, they have to win, or it goes to the tiebreakers.
Like we have San Antonio losing, but Arlington still has they can't sit on this game, even if I know they're in, but they can't sit on this game. So I do really like Arlington. I'm not a big Renegades guy, but last week, let's take something out of this. I think they were down 28-6 DC and closed that game out on a 20-0 run. They still got a little fight in them. I'll take Arlington. I'm with you.
Yeah, I like it too. Nothing on the side on the total because, like I said, I don't know if Arlington's going to have motivation in this one, so I stayed away from the total. But did play some total, or didn't play the total in this last game, but thought about it. But I ended up backing off this one as well. But I did lay the points here. Our final game, the Seattle Sea Dragons, -8.5 now against the Vegas Vipers. And this game is in Seattle. The Sea Dragons will be playing for their playoff lives. So there's a ton of motivation here, very much like St. Louis.
Yep.
They need to win by margin, not only winning, but scoring a lot of points. Now, the one factor is they'll know how many points they have to score going into the game because St. Louis will already have played. So they're up, like, for instance, for points 4, they're up by 19 points. So if St. Louis, only scores 20 points in their game, they know that they only need to score a touchdown to win the points for part of the tiebreaker. Now there's a points against, marker as well. But anyway, so it might be a situation where they get out to a big lead and they can kind of sit starters late in the game after they know the game's under wraps. But I think this is a smash spot for Seattle. I think they get the job done. When these two teams played earlier, Seattle put up the most yards that we've seen in an XFL game this year, 519 yards from scrimmage, 8.2 yards per play. You might remember they won the game on that last second, 60-yard touchdown to Josh Gordon.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, I was on Vegas on that one. That one stung. But anyway, they can move the ball in this Vegas defense, and Vegas's defense really hasn't gotten much better as the season progressed. So I think that this is a situation where Seattle's going to put up a ton of points, and I don't think Vegas is going to be able to keep up. So I have Seattle here, minus the 8.5. I think they're the clear side. I think this number is only going to go up, but I think they can conceivably, beat this team in a rout. I would be surprised. I mean, listen, they played St. Louis in St. Louis last week, won the game 30-12. This Seattle team is dialed in. I did a video. I think they are the team that you want to hit in the futures market. They were at plus 500 yesterday. I saw on FanDuel they were down to 380 today, but still way too much of a price. I think this team is going to win the XFL championship. I think them and DC are kind of a toss-up, but I think they win with style this weekend. I think they blow the doors off Vegas and do everything they need to do to get in the playoffs.
I'm with you. And here's the thing. I was just dialing in Seattle plus 425 tonight to win the XFL.
Yeah.
You're not far off. And to me, they're the best team. They're the best team.
I think they are too. And I think that that number is still way too generous. They should be at plus 250 max. I think them and DC are the best teams. It's going to be them or DC that's going to win it. So I think the odds are off. So, I mean, listen, now we have Seattle plus 7, plus 8, plus 900 from beginning of the year. So, we don't need to hit this again at this number. But for people out there watching, I definitely think that they're live as anybody in the field, and it's probably they're a coin flip with DC to win this thing. So getting these numbers at plus, 400, plus 350 or whatnot still makes a ton of sense. But I think they blow this team out this weekend, Vegas. I think they'll cover in style.
I do. And I've been a big, no lie. I think Vegas is decent. They're just so bad on defense.
Yeah.
And to that point, I really think they struggle with the coaching.
Woodson's awful. And listen, here's the thing now, and this is kind of unfair, but if you look at the 4 teams that are likely not to make the playoffs, right? The 4 coaches, it's going to be Hines Ward, it's going to be Terrell Buckley, it's going to be Woodson, and it's probably going to be Anthony Beck. Now, St. Louis is the 3rd best team in the whole thing. They're not going to make the playoffs, so it's a little bit unfair to him, but you can see these NFL guys that they gave head coaching jobs to give them a head coaching experience really haven't done well at all.
No, you're so right. And it's weird. If you look at that, it's Wade Phillips that's going to get there, Reggie Barlow, but he's a little bit inexperienced, but he gets there. And what I love about Reggie early on is he just has the right mentality, positivity. He doesn't blame anybody, but he's got good people on the sidelines. And then you look at it and you got Well, it's June Jones. I get it. It's Jim Haslett, but it's June Jones. And then who else we got? Maybe Stoops, or I guess Stoops is going to get there.
Stoops will get in there. I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think San Antonio is getting in because I don't think
Not
they win.
with him.
Even if they
He's
do
so
win,
conservative.
I think Arlington, if they have to win, they'll win that game. So I think, I think your 4 playoff coaches are going to be Phillips, Stoops, Haslett, and Barlow.
Yeah, but in the end, I'll go with you on this game. And I'm going to say Seattle covers it. And listen, Seattle's such a dynamic team. They can blow anybody out and they can lose to anybody. But in the end, I still believe they're the best team in the XFL. And they'll win this week with margin. They'll win enough to get into the playoffs. And they got DC. So I like it.
Definitely.
I agree with you.
I think so. I think we're on the same page. And, looking ahead, we talked a little bit about the futures market, but before we wrap up, we know we have a pretty good idea what the playoff matchups are going to be. It's going to be DC. It's going to be either Seattle or St. Louis at DC. And then it's going to be likely Arlington at Houston, maybe San Antonio if things get weird, but probably not. And, looking ahead, I'll have to see what kind of number it is in the North Division game, but I will probably be on Arlington in that playoff game against Houston.
And I'll be on Seattle.
I'm not backing. Yeah, I'll be on Seattle, definitely, if they make
Seattle
it. They're probably going to be getting points.
I agree.
Yeah, I think so, too.
And I loved Houston up until about week 6, and I'm like,
second half of the season, they couldn't make adjustments. It's almost like teams figured out the offense, and you saw that a little bit too with Seattle.
The injuries, I feel like
they lost Kirkland, that hurt, but I also think that they had they would have a real good game and then a real bad game, and then it's just offensively there's no consistency, but I think they're in a lot of trouble.
I do. I really believe that too. And as much as I love Phillips and the way he coaches, I feel like they're going to get exposed. I really do.
I think they're in trouble in the playoffs.
Yeah, I do. And I hate Arlington.
Yep. But I think we'll get a good number. I think we'll get a good. I think we might get 4.5.
I was thinking 6.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that high. But
either way, yeah.
Yeah. But if I can get over 4 with Arlington, I'll smash that. I'll be all over that. I mean, that would be a huge get. But listen, great stuff, Dave. Everybody, we appreciate you listening. Make sure, like I said, hop in the Sharp App Discord. The link is down below in the description. Join the community. We have an XFL channel. We're in there chopping it up for the games all the time. Get all our professional handicappers picks. But get into Discord, hit the like and subscribe button. Take care of us and download the Sharp app. Get involved with the community. We're going to be transitioning over to USFL in the next couple weeks, but we are here throughout the playoffs, and we're still going to make some money as we get into the postseason here. So we appreciate everybody for checking us out. We'll see you guys next week.